Didn't we already do this?
Yes, Your Honor, but there was um, some complications with it.
If I break a court order, I get in trouble. What happens to them for breaking a court order?
This was a termination of tenancy uh, after a sheriff's sale. And I think this is brand new. Mr. Schulte, what's the situation here? Didn't we already do this?
Yes, Your Honor, but there was some complications with it. So we had a judgment order for Mr. Moore to be out of the property by June 17th. And while he was moving things out, it appeared the property was reported vacant by a vendor that Carrington uses, I believe just during a routine check. And that was prior to the 17th. And so since it was reported vacant, Carrington instructed them to proceed as vacant and change the locks and begin a trash out process. All prior to this, Mr. Moore was still moving things out and returned to his home and was locked out and have had some problems with that since then. So he's still in possession of the property while we were trying to work things out. And I believe Mr. Kreitzer is here to help explain why the property was reported vacant.
Well, this has happened in a couple of recent cases. I have one right now where they're alleging that the move out people stole their stuff. Let me get into this because I don't have all the pleadings in front of me.
Okay. And I believe that's similar here. Something important to Mr. Moore seems to be taken from the property. And I believe he filed a police report about it too as well.
All right. We did have a judgment.
Yep.
That was for a move out date of June 17th. That was agreed upon.
Yep.
Then we got email from Mr. Moore stating what you had said. And I was told the attorney, they were trying to help recover the items. The police officer told me to contact the courts. So I'm not exactly even sure what I have authority to do here, but I set this for hearing. Mr. Moore, you're content that they took your stuff before you'd finished moving out of your father's house. Is that correct?
What? Yes, sir. I just dumbfounded to how they could say a property is vacant. The doors were locked. The lights were on. I mean, I made it very clearly known, so you can visibly see, hey, if the doors are locked, the lights are on, the property's not unsecure. There's boxes all over the front porch. We're obviously moving stuff. Why they would call it vacant and break in the first place, I don't understand. And in the second place, why they would violate the court order and not do things right, I don't understand. I'm just dumbfounded. There's a lot of stuff missing. And as I've told this attorney, David Schulte, I don't care about most of it. There's one box that was my father's law enforcement retirement stuff that is very valuable to me and my family, and we would like it back, but no one seems to want to admit to who took it. I had to wait.
All right. Well, I've obviously, as we discussed, I knew your dad, and I worked with him when I was prosecutor. Then he went to Hartford and did some other things, but I'd known him during his law enforcement career. And in the past, I've charged people criminally when I was prosecutor with this, in this circumstances. I don't think this is going to turn into a criminal case, but I've charged 25 years ago, this. So Ms. Schulte, you indicated they were trying to recover the property. So there's some blame to go around. They called you and said it was vacant. Someone from your office said, go ahead and do it, even though the time period for the court order hadn't passed. Mm-hmm. And property that's valuable to them has been taken. Have you had any success in finding it?
And finding his property?
Yes.
The goods? No, we haven't. I was hoping to talk to the police officer because the vendor that Carrington hires provided some contact information with who all had been out to the property, and have been doing my best to get in contact with them individually to ask questions and see if anyone has seen, what's missing. One individual gave me a call back, and prior to this hearing, I was in contact with Mr. Moore and gave him the contact info that I was given so that he could provide to the police officer and hope that gets taken care of. Because it seems like, from Mr. Moore's perspective, and mine now at this point, the top priority here is getting his lost goods back, because that seems to be what he cares about the most here. And
Well,
obviously,
Mr. Kreitzer, what's your involvement here?
Hi, I'm a realtor, and I do a lot of bank foreclosure properties. And I was hired to go to the, I've been watching the property for about 9 months. And I do a bi-weekly occupy check. And during one of my occupy check, it looked like nobody was living in the house. I got out and walked around the house, and then there was a neighbor outside to the left. And I talked to the neighbor, and he said that, because I'd been to the property, and I talked to a person named Earl Moore, and he said that Earl
Well,
passed
that's true.
away.
No one was living in the house, so
And Earl
but
passed
they
away.
weren't done moving out. So did you hire somebody to come then empty the house out?
I did not. I hired
Well,
nobody to come to move out the house or anything.
Well,
All I did is report that the
back to the law
house
firm?
was vacant and there was personal property inside.
Your Honor, I believe he reported to a company called MCS, and MCS then reported to Carrington.
Your Honor,
Yes.
part of my problem is I left on the night of the 2nd, morning of the 3rd to haul a load down south. Knowing I had to be back by the 7th because I had a clean out crew coming in the 7th with dumpsters and clean out, guys to clean the place out. When I got back, they had locked me out. When I got back on the night of the 6th, I was locked out. It took until the 13th to finally get someone to let me back in. So now I had to drive back there, and I had to stay in a motel and wait till the 13th after calling everybody to get back in. This attorney that's here now is the only one that had even helped me any.
All right, well, let's talk about this. This has to do with possession, and they now have possession of the house. What you have is a claim for money damages. You also may have a violation. Hold on for a minute. You may have a violation of the lockout law, where they came and locked you out. And this is a kind of a amorphous group of defendants. It was your father's house. There were people in it. A number of names. You weren't actually living there, but you were trying to help facilitate this. They're subject to being sued financially for the unlawful taking of your property. I guess you could sue everybody involved. But I don't have the authority to order anything in the context of this landlord-tenant case. As I said, in the past, I've charged people with crimes. I have another one right now where the people are quite upset. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. But
well, Your Honor, to clear
point,
anything up, I do live there.
Okay. All right. So you did reside there?
I still do. I'm still there right now.
Well, the date for the writ is passed. You're subject to being evicted.
Judge,
The fact
that?
if I can add something, we separately provided Mr. Moore some more time, and even as a part of this hearing, we're going to be willing to give him some more time to continue to move things out, given everything that's happened and given that he was locked out.
Okay.
But that's where we were also kind of confused and waiting to hear what you had to say about the matter with the eviction, with everything else going on.
I
We
guess
were ready
I
to give him
just
more
see this
time.
as an information. Well, how much time are you willing to give him?
if Mr. Moore, we were trying to reach some agreement with Mr. Moore if there was any time that he would be willing to go with. Just with everything that's happened, we obviously understand the situation, and any matter of 1 or 2 weeks would be preferable just because our client wants the property back to proceed. But I also understand what's going on with Mr. Moore and that there are more things going on, and if there's any sort of compromise we could reach, that would be great.
All right, well, Mr. Moore, how much more time is it gonna take you to vacate?
Well, I had to reschedule with the move out company because we were locked out and couldn't get in. They showed up and couldn't get in. More importantly to me, I want to know, a couple of weeks is fine. I can live with a couple of weeks. We'll get what we can get out and be done. More importantly to me is I incurred a lot of expenses staying at a motel and having to get police involved and everything, trying to get back in the house. And I want to know who is how, let's just say we give them back the house, Your Honor. If we give them back the house, they can fight me for the next 100 years over who stole that stuff. They're just going to sell their house and move on and forget all about I even exist. They don't care. They have a lot more money than I do. They'll fight it forever. I'm not trying to get everything back that was missing. There's a riding lawnmower missing, all kinds of stuff. I'm not trying to get all that back. I want the box of his retirement stuff back. That's all I have of my dad, while trying to move out and move Robin into a home, as we discussed before she died on us. So this has been a tragedy multiple times throughout my family. And the one thing that we have of my father's life was his retirement stuff, his golden police chief ring and stuff. It's all gone. I mean, how do you put a value on this stuff? So what am I supposed to do? Walk away, give them their property back, and say, "Okay, you win. I'm never going to get nothing."
So what's the question? You want to stay longer for free because you're mad because they took your dad's stuff? Sue them for $25,000 and subpoena people.
That's not what I'm saying, Your Honor. I'm not trying to do that.
I understand why you're upset, but
I want them to reimburse my cost in the motel and stuff, which I think David Schulte said they would do that.
We spoke to them. They haven't confirmed the reimbursement. We've contacted them about it and asked.
All right. Well, they can do that if they choose to. Yes.
Your Honor, I want to say I have never go on record. I've never been inside that house at all. I want to go on record for that.
All right.
Now, I do have one more question. If I break a court order, I get in trouble. What happens to them for breaking a court order?
I guess that's a good question. They could be found in contempt. I don't even know who it is. The problem they have is they're going to say, we have the authority of the law firm to do this. So we have a succession of mistakes. And so to charge them criminally is probably not realistic because they'll say, well, the lawyer told us to go do it. Or someone from Carrington Mortgage. I'm not sure at this point who gave them the authority to do it. So I agree with you. I'm not very happy about this, but at some point you need to vacate the house. And that's what we're trying to establish here is when you're going to be out.
And I will be out either way in that 2 weeks. I'll have whatever I can get out will be out. I'll be done. But if I may ask a question,
hold it. Let's decide when 2 weeks is. Today is June 28th. 2 weeks from now would be July 12th. Is that long enough? Or you want to go to July 19th?
Let's go to the 19th.
All right, so the move out date is July 19th, 2024. And no writ will enter before that time.
Judge, do you want us to prepare a new order for that to submit?
Yes. Also, the plaintiff is attempting to recover defendant's missing property.
Hello?
Yes,
Oh, I lost all video.
okay. Well, all right, we'll cover missing property and consider reimbursement for expenses.
Your Honor, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
If the owner of the said property is Carrington Mortgage, whoever gets hired below them would be Carrington Mortgage's responsibility. So wouldn't Carrington Mortgage be responsible for what others do? For say, if you hired me to paint your house and I didn't paint it, I had somebody else do it. I'm still responsible for who I hired to paint your house. If you're not happy, you're going to come after me and I have to go after them.
Yes, you could sue Carrington Mortgage if you choose to.
Well, I guess what I'm asking you is in the terms of penalizing someone for breaking a court order, it would still fall back on Carrington Mortgage. They're the ones that hired the other people. It's Carrington Mortgage should have done better due diligence to see if the property was vacant.
Yes, but this is a landlord-tenant foreclosure action. So I'm not doing your heavy lifting for you. If you want to sue them for money damages, you can do it. You've got until the 19th of July to vacate, or you're subject to being evicted. Mr. Schulte is going to be working with Carrington Mortgage. Somebody screwed up here. There isn't any other way to describe it.
Yeah.
But let's see what we can do. In the meantime, you need to vacate. But if you want to sue them,
I will.
All right. Well, let's see what they can accomplish in the next 3 weeks. Mr. Schulte will submit a new order. So everyone else is vacated but you?
Yep. And now if they don't reimburse me all my expenses that they have caused me, do I come back to you for this or what?
Judge, I'm
Yeah,
happy
you
to
file
speak with
an
him.
action. Ms. Bauer, were you going to say something?
Just, I'm happy to consult with Mr. Moore if he's interested about his civil rights and obligations.
Would you like to talk to legal aid about this?
Yes, definitely.
All right, I'll put you in a breakout room.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Judge.
Well, the problem is I'm going to need the breakout room again in about 2 seconds.
I'll just direct him for an intake and give him a basic.
Contact, all right, I'll do that.
This year, we gave out 45,000, equally distributed to 3 women entrepreneurs who are building their business right here in Michigan.
Miss Olivier, that's your microphone. Is that your other hearing?
You know, he's really got product that, you know.
No, I don't know what you're hearing.
I'm hearing another court bleeding into our record.
Okay.
All right, let me do the breakout room.
Or Mr. Moore can stay until the end of the
Well,
proceedings.
I'll put you in the breakout room and then we'll take up our next matter.
Okay.
So, Mr. Schulte, I'll await your order.
Okay.
So is under.
Do you need me for anything after their breakout room?
No, I don't.
Okay.
All right,
You need
thank
me
you.
Thank
anymore?
you.
I'm sure we'll be in contact again going forward, and you have my contact info and whatnot.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Mr. Kreitzer, you're good to go.
Thank you.